You are now listening to Out of the Blank.
Oh, welcome to another episode of Out of the Blank podcast. I'm here with Wayne Ty.
What's up?
So, Wayne, please tell me a little bit about yourself and what do you do professionally?
Well, I am self-employed. I'm 29 now, and I just turned 29 on the 28th of October, so not that long ago.
Well, happy late birthday to you, good sir.
Thank you. It's not a great news, but I'll take it. But I'm self-employed. I have an e-commerce business that I have, and I like to create YouTube content. I just started doing that recently, and of course, I have a podcast with my boys, and I believe you just talked to one of them.
Oh my goodness, wait a minute. So you're not selling drugs in this self-employed business?
Unfortunately, not here. Idaho is not legal yet.
A lot of people are self-employed nowadays, and the first thing that pops in my mind is like, are we talking drug dealer? I start looking for pagers and stuff, and they're like, no, I have my own Etsy shop. I have my own this, selling this on that. I'm like, whoa.
That's funny because if I did do that, I would definitely avoid telling people about it.
Yeah, it's not great credit saying you own an Etsy shop. I'm like, well, what is Etsy?
Right. It's, what e-commerce is, right? Like Shopify.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like that, but it's more like homemade products. So people like handcraft products, and then they sell it on there. It's more for that versus like the wide scale amount of sales like that people go through Shopify with. So.
Yeah, so you're buying someone's homemade kind of grandma's cooking in a way.
Yeah. People make like little speakers that play a certain song, and they make jewelry and stuff like that. So that's what Etsy's for. But no, I use Shopify, and I have a coffee business.
You have a coffee business?
Yeah.
Dude, what type of coffee are you selling, man?
All kinds of coffee.
Like just regular brand coffees, like just selling it like kind of second market?
No, my own brand, actually.
You grow your own coffee beans?
No, I don't grow my own coffee beans, not yet.
Then how do you how do you get the coffee?
I work with an actual roaster, and he has dealings with farmers and stuff like that. So he gets his coffee, and then I'm basically the third party here. So I sell it as my own brand, and I work stuff out with him, and it just works out.
Well, plug the brand, dude. What are we doing? What do you call it?
Magic Valley Coffee.
What? Okay, immediately I thought Green Giant for some reason. I think of some giant dude going ho ho ho.
That's actually hilarious. I think of like Folgers, because the Folgers coffee brand has like the mountain peak, and mine's like that too, but it's not as like boring. Mine's a little more interesting. I designed that logo.
Folgers dominated the freaking coffee market though, besides like Starbucks or something. When you walk into Walmart, It's all Folgers. Folgers is like the only decaf there. I'm like, well, I drink decaf at night or something, even though I can drink a pot of coffee and go right to bed. But it's like, all I'm seeing is Folgers. I'm like, is there anything besides Folgers? Every time I think Folgers, I think of the old Toll House cookie elf.
Yeah, that's a good point. Folgers did dominate the market for a long time, but I think as the evolution of coffee has changed so much that smaller roasteries and stuff like that, they're starting to like get up there. And I think because Black Rifle Coffee, it was kind of small for a while, and then they just fucking blew up because they're a veteran-owned company, and so they just like got massive, and now they're like one of the leading coffee sellers right now. So that's something to think about.
Now, do you understand the coffee process, like how it gets kind of picked?
Yeah.
So take me through little steps, because you're just talking to a guy that shoves it in his coffee maker.
Yeah, no, I was like that too until I got into the actual niche itself. So the farmers, they only harvest depending on where they're at, only once a year, and then they when they get these they're berries actually to start with, and the beans are actually seeds inside the center of these berries. And so when they harvest these berries, they obviously pull out the seed, and then they let it dry out a little bit, right? Or they wash them, depending on what you want to do. Because if you, like you said, you drink decaf, they wash it out with like really purified water, and that actually excretes some of the caffeine, and that's how you get your decaf. And so
is there still slight caffeine in decaf?
Yes. Yeah, there's not very much, but it's a very small hint of it. Yeah.
That's where my insomnia comes from. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. Like, yeah, there is definitely caffeine inside of decaf coffee. It's just very minuscule compared to like the regular.
I never drank coffee before, and then I tried it like a couple of years back, and I've been doing it ever since. I find it a little bit better sometimes than an energy drink. I mean, I still enjoy an energy drink or something. Mostly I drink them for the taste. Like I used to kill like 5 20-ounce Red Bulls on my way to work in the morning with a bag of Skittles.
Yeah.
And my brother's girlfriend was like, "You're going to have a heart attack by the time you're like 24." And I'm like, "Well, I'm 21, so I think I'll be okay for the next couple of years."
That's actually crazy. I used to drink a ton of like energy drinks, right? And when I was, how old are you? I don't
21.
remember. Okay, so you're a little younger than me. So when I was like 18, 17, 18, I drank way too much Monster, and I had a seizure at the movie theater. It was crazy.
I
And
have not had that experience before, but I know if you mix 3 Monsters when I was like 15, I mean, what's energy drinks when you're a kid? If you're
it's not. It's not good.
if your parents give you $20 or some shit, it's not going to anything beneficial. You go to the store, like I had gaming marathons. I had,
Yeah.
it pisses me off nowadays that Uber Eats is a thing because kids are never going to know what it was like to be confined to the place of a delivery service such as Domino's. You're ordering pizza, if anything, or breadsticks. There's nothing else. You're not getting Chinese food from one place, McDonald's from another place, and all this shit is
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
No, for real. Pizza was like it for delivery.
Exactly. And it was always awkward. You were a kid handing a $20 bill to pizza drivers. That's why when I podcast with a few people that do pizza delivery and stuff, and I always bring up the concept of like how many people are stoned out of their mind ordering them and how many of them are actually kids like doing a gaming marathon or something. And like, that's surprising. That's a large amount of their content.
No, and it's actually kind of a neat little thing because I'm an entrepreneur at heart as well, and I feel like the people who came out with like Uber and Uber Eats, and there's another one too, like Dine and Dash or something. I forgot what it's called, but it's the same space as Uber Eats, and it's actually genius, low key genius. The amount of money that is able to be put into that is kind of phenomenal, really, if you think about it. But no, I have this like grand dream for the coffee business. It's kind of staggered right now because I'm like trying to balance because I just wrote a book and I'm trying to balance that and promotion for the book, promotion for the podcast, and the coffee thing is just it's a lot to undertake by yourself. And when it comes to the podcast I have with my buddies, we only have I'm pretty much doing the only editing, so like I just have to do all this stuff at once, and so one of my businesses is suffering from it, and I'm trying to work on that. But I also want to get the book out because I want to start like personal branding myself, kind of like Gary Vaynerchuk, who actually happens to be one of my.
Everybody brings up Gary V that writes a book.
That's actually funny you said that. Yeah, because I literally he's like one of my main inspirations for it.
Like everybody talks about Gary V, but no one talks about the original baller, Jordan Belfort.
Jordan Belfort, yeah, I'm Tony Robbins also is like really big for me, and Grant Cardone, and let's see who else we have. Like the main 3 are those 3. I know that I don't have much time to read anymore just because I have a kid and I work and I take care of the ranch here, so I just don't really have the amount of time as I used to have to read. So all of my knowledge came from my early life.
Hey, man.
Now it's staggered.
At least you got excuses for not reading. I just don't like the concept of, I mean, I'm a good reader, but a book, like sitting down for me when I have ADHD is like, for 1 minute, I'll read the first page. I'll get maybe to like the good first paragraph. Then afterwards, I'm like, why did I decide this was going to be something that would be good for me right now?
Automatic regrets.
Yeah, right. Automatic regrets, right? No tattoos ever went wrong there, right?
No, never. Never heard of that.
So what's interesting about being an entrepreneur is that like even like a lot of people talk about how hard it is to create things nowadays. It seems like people who are self-employed or entrepreneurs now, there's a giant market for it on the capabilities of where technology has really taken us. Like for instance, YouTubers. People that make money up selling videos or putting up videos and getting advertisement spots. Like advertisements it's changed the whole concept of the game. Like a lot of things back in the day, your parents would tell you oh, you're not going to be able to get anything off playing video games. Well, a motherfucker, a kid just won Fortnite. Okay. And now he won couple $100,000. Now they're talking about adding video games into the Olympics. Like, did you see yourself even diving down this road when you were a kid? Like, did you have a planned out job that you wanted to go towards, or something comfortable your parents were trying to shift you towards?
Yeah, no, and well, no, not my parents actually. I didn't graduate high school, and I stuck my ass and my head into the blue collar field for most of my young adult life. I've done a lot of stuff from construction to tower climbing to just basic customer service. Like I've done a lot of different things, and the one thing the one thing that steered me away from traditional work is the fact that there's nothing quite like working for yourself. So to be able to create a piece of content that people will enjoy and consume and maybe make some money became really exciting to me. So I that's why I joined this road, but I had no real like people pushing me towards anything. I didn't really have a direction at all. And I'm just trying to figure everything out. I don't, if you think you know what you want to do, you really don't, because in a year or two, your attitude could shift tremendously.
Well, you can experience something too that can change your thoughts on
Absolutely.
a lot of things.
Experiences, people you meet, anything can change your mind. So I find that fascinating.
People always want to say like they have a plan on what they want to do with their life. They're going to do this, they're going to make this, they're going to make that. I'm like, I guarantee you none of those things are actually going to work out the way you think that it's going to work out. The best part about life is its little imperfections that tend to come across our way. We choose to look at them in a bad way. Obviously, we don't know how to problem solve as people effectively, but I think the amazing things are like kind of little imperfections to it. I mean, the fact that you can just try and manage to survive, or even like we're just giant bags of blood walking around. Like, if you honestly really think about it. And it gets even deeper than that when you look at like, what do you want to do? And that question everybody asks, like, what do you want to do when you grow up? Someone asked me that, and like, wait a minute, aren't you already an adult though? And I'm like, shit, that's right. I am an adult. Like technically I am grown up, but I still give that answer. And I mean, I went to college on the prospects of someone told me that I was not college material in my family. And I was like, I have a problem with authority. And I know you're saying that either hopefully because you actually think I'm going to run with it and then fucking, actually go to college, which I did, first person in my family to do that. But
Superman, good for you.
No, not good for me at all. It's like a fucking waste of time. Once I got that associate, dude, I have my ordained minister's license under the United Church of Bacon that I hold higher than my college diploma.
That is beautiful.
Yeah, well, I'm
a real man of culture. I didn't realize.
I'm a philosopher. Trust me.
You're going places, my friend.
Don't hold your hands around me because I will fucking marry you quick. I told my buddy, I was like, if you're ever in a park with somebody and you're just randomly holding hands, you're married if I'm around.
Have you ever been into the YouTube presence? Have you thought about doing that yourself?
What, being like online or selling drugs?
Well, no, just starting to do video content.
I just do audio because I don't like visuals that much, only on the prospects of like, I have already kind of like the reason I work out so much. I mean, I've done it. I've said it before, and everybody listening is like, God, we get it. You work out a lot. I've done it because I was bullied pretty bad for the way that I looked. So I never really liked kind of being the center of attention, even though I like being the class clown. But I don't know. It just seems like there was always going to be one thing. Like if I kept with podcasting in the beginning, I said eventually I would move on to visuals. And then eventually it was just like, I really just prefer the conversation over the kind of the video aspect. Obviously, when you watch YouTube or something, you're getting the video. That's what you care about, really. A lot of people don't really listen to audio, listening to songs. Like when I listen to a Joe Rogan podcast, even though I'm hearing it, it's still on YouTube on my phone. So if I'm doing a certain set and I have a break, I can look down and see what's going on. And you pick up key things about YouTube videos as well. But I feel like in a world where we live, where now everyone is creating so much of mass content, there's so much of it out there that a lot of it does go unseen and unheard.
And that's funny you mentioned that, because like Mr. V himself, he said that himself. Like it doesn't even matter. Just put it out.
God. Come on, Gary, just get on the podcast, I guess. I don't know what to tell you, man. Apparently that everyone who wrote a book likes you, so you must be an okay guy. Because I've seen
Have you seen any of his content at all?
I haven't at all. It's like every time I say something, someone's like, "Oh, that's just like Black Mirror." I'm like, "Well, what's Black Mirror? I don't even know what that is."
Yeah, no, he's okay. So yeah, there were entrepreneurs, like Warren Buffett, obviously, they're just out there and they made a legend out of themselves. But Gary Vee's going about it an interesting way, because I've analyzed a lot of his content, and I'm thinking to myself, before I even started any of this stuff I'm doing now, because I was actually traditionally quite reserved and very introverted. And this, for some reason, this person I don't even know, I never even seen in my life before. I saw one video and he had me hooked. And it's because he's romanticizing, to some degrees, romanticizing entrepreneurialism. But that was happening before he started it. He just kind of gave it the kick it needed. And when he started making content, his content is surrounded by doing whatever the fuck you want to do. And if you can make money doing it, that's what you need to go all in on. And he's very anti-college. He went to college too and said it was a waste of time. And he's really like pushing people who are like you and I, who are just small starting out, or I'm definitely small starting out, to doing something that they're passionate about. And the fact of the matter is, like in my book, I did read one of his books. I didn't really use it as inspiration for my book. My book's more about well, actually, it's funny. I have it here.
Oh shit! What's it called? The 5 dimensions to unfucking your life, your prison, fear. What is that? Does that say egg?
Oh,
Does that say egg?
No. Fear, ego, belief, greed, and love. But it's really what it is about, man. What life is about is to become the best person and the best version of yourself, and to do so while implying the fact that you have a voice. I mean, why the fuck not? It's so easy right now to do it. Like,
yeah, podcasting wasn't even a thing back then. It was just talk radio. I mean, I think there's I agree with you and I disagree with you on the concept of a lot of people have a voice, and a lot of times it's not their real voice. It's false communication. It's the one that puts people down and doesn't let them increase themselves at all. And let me tell you, I've talked to you want to talk about being a small fish in a big pond or something. Let me tell you, I don't even scratch the surface. I'm not in the fucking pond. Okay. I don't fit in the pond because I'm too small to be even close relatively in it. And that's okay, because the experience that I get from this, whether, I honestly, this is the one thing I've talked about before, but I hate it. YouTube shows me my analytics for my videos when I post. Spotify shows me my listeners. Spotify shows me anything.
Yes.
Honestly, that doesn't mean anything to me, because the conversations I have with these amazing people and all these wonderful conversations I keep on having is what fuels me to do this. I remember when my cousin wanted me to turn this podcast into a business on my local boardwalk. He was like, dude, it's a spot to rent. It's $1,000. We're going to go all in. We're going to get set up like a radio so people can just come right off the street. It's going to be easy for you. I told him no, because I shouldn't have to have someone pay to have a conversation, especially for me. If anything, it's selfish of me asking for your time to be able to have a conversation. It's all about the way I think of it is we all walk around not talking to each other, not even glancing. We have default answers. Nobody gives a shit. We're not connected anymore. As much as you want to talk about social media being this giant connective resource we have, it's not real connectivity. It's what I call false communication, because it's the same reason why if you have a long day, you come home, you put up a post about how long your day was, or bitch about your day, or do something, you get a like. You get 2 likes. Hey, guess what? It hit 3 likes. But those people that choose to like your stuff don't actually give 2 shits about you. If your car broke down and you ask for their help, I guarantee you they will not answer, unless they're a true friend and they randomly come across your post. Yeah. But that conversation, that little like of acceptance, whatever that feels like, and that little pat on the back you feel that it gives you when you post that, it feels good. But then your next post that you have of having a really rough day, and then it only gets 1 like when your last post got 6, it doesn't feel the same, to the point where you take it down. You still feel empty. You feel like you're not heard. And that got torn down because the originality of where that came from, of being heard, was coming home after a long day and talking to someone you love, talking to a family member, talking to a close friend, where you felt like that conversation, they actually heard you. and you felt that comfortability factor. I was introvert for a long time myself after getting out of high school, and I realized I had to stop that because then ended up becoming extrovert, because it keeps you from one of the main necessities to life, and that is the social skill. I'm pretty sure, you play games. I play Sims, okay? If you notice in Sims, when you're playing that, there's the eating, there's the shitting, there's the taking a shower, whatever, okay? That all drains pretty fast, am I right? You have to get on top of that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what about the social skill? That one drains slower than all the rest. But if it hits a low, your Sims, other skills, and everything else start going pretty quicker. Okay. Everything starts going to shit. Your guy's life legit goes to crap and gets really depressed. And sometimes it leads to death in that game. Now, take that in the realist aspect. Be introvert for a very long time. Then what happens? You become extrovert, because you cannot cut yourself completely off full communication from anybody. Because once someone does decide to invest a little bit of time, 5 minutes of their day into your day and see how you're doing, it's like a hug for your fucking soul that you didn't realize that you needed. You realize there's this thing about you that where it is communication, whether it's a shitty interaction with some dude that's just angry at the store, doesn't matter. You need some type of response or some type of stimulant of that reaction of meeting somebody or just conversating with somebody. If you don't have conflict in your everyday life, you look for it elsewhere. What I mean by that is the days you would not experience anything going wrong in your life. Nothing went wrong. You had a normal day at school as a kid. You came home and you watched what? Reality television. That's why it was fucking invented, to create that little conflict.
Yes.
Okay. You would come home, watch Jersey Shore, watch a whole bunch of people freak out, and you're like, damn, that was a lot. You turn it off, but you were okay because you had the conflict. We do need conflict in our everyday lives, but we choose to hold it so aggressively and to 100% now that when we come home, we can't go back out and hang out with our friends because all we want to do is slip into our PJs and watch Netflix, because the world's already given you so fucking much. Yeah.
Heard that. And it's kind of funny when you're saying that, because are you sure you've never seen Gary Vaynerchuk's content? Like everything you just said was like almost verbatim.
I thought you were about to say Black Mirror. I was about to freaking hop through the computer.
No, I'm not. I'm going to avoid that like the plague. Don't worry about it.
It's like Game of Thrones. Don't dip your life into those toes yet.
No, I dip my testicles into everything. It doesn't matter. I'm just here to experience life the best way that I can.
So when I hear your friends drinking on the podcast, like a drink or taking a sip from something, you've dipped your testicles in there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We'll keep it with the silent.
We're friends for a reason, man. My DNA is inside them.
You are a part of me.
That's right.
But I mean, it's a really crazy concept, the world we live in. There's a lot of wonderful things about it, and there's a lot of things that I think as people create as problems in our life. There's going to be what I call stress fractures throughout the day. I tell people before we hop on the podcast that it's a real conversation. It's real, means you don't have, like, people always go, "Oh, I'm sorry, I cursed. Is that going to get taken out?" I'm like,
yeah.
No, yeah, go ahead, drop as many curse bombs. I'm hoping somebody does it before I do, but it always seems like I light the first candle, only on the concept of I cuss in my everyday life. The way I think of cursing is I call them stress relief. Every day you face a severe amount of problems psychologically and physically, mentally, whatever you want to say, that really are what I call stress fractures, such as cracks in the concrete. When you go home and you go to bed and you don't focus on those problems, they can arise as nightmares. They can arise as just waking up the next day and feeling a little bit drained, like you didn't get a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
And that's because we're putting basically silly string on top of the crack on the pavement. We're not doing anything at all. We're not fixing it. We're not addressing it. We're not even understanding what it happens when it does happen, because now it's become so part of a normalized day. You wonder why your ass is drained when you get home. Just drop a shit, drop whatever when you're just around the house. It doesn't mean you're angry, but that little bit, it's like a stress relief.
Yes, I agree. And I'm a firm believer in the fact that your life is 80% fucked up. Like, there's no stopping that factor. Like, there's always something negative in your life. It could be your work. You hate your job. You need to make money, but you hate your job. I'm sure every fucking fast food worker hates their job. And That's like 80% of their life. 80% of our life is working.
There's some person at Chick-fil-A right now that's like, fuck you. I love my job. I love saying my pleasure instead of saying thank you like a average person, but okay.
And that's the beauty of the other 20%. You know, the 20% of your life, it's not. The 20% is, you know, it's happiness, friends, it's family, it's the people who give you that oomph that makes you happy. And that's the biggest thing, you know, we constantly strive for people. It differs, you know. For me, it's my son and getting to be able to do what I love for work. You know, that's what makes me happy. But there's things in my life that suck too. You know, I don't live the dream. Even like celebrities. I was just watching a video today about celebrities, and they don't fucking even like their lives 100%. They're fucking millionaires. So I mean, everything's a double-edged sword. It doesn't play out just one-sided all the time.
Well, one of the biggest examples of a man that suffered from a lot but had a lot was Robin Williams. You know, he suffered from severe depression, ended up taking his own life, even though he had so much. Everyone wondered why that happened, because he was so rich, he was so loved, and it was like there's an internal struggle within us all. I think
because happiness is subjective.
Exactly. You know,
happiness and life, everything is subjective now. You know, it's now being voiced for the longest time. Even like in example of Robin Williams, he knew for a fact it was subjective. He was struggling with his life, even while he was pretending to be happy or be funny, you know, using humor as an outlet. He realized that, you know, it doesn't matter what he did, he was still sad all the time, and ultimately led to him taking his life. And we have to take that into consideration and everything we do nowadays. It's actually kind of sad, but it is life. So it doesn't matter if it's sad or not. It's just how it is. So
I think the best thing people can do to, like, they understand, like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what this is like. What do you feel like you should be doing? You know, What are you interested in? My buddy loves building fucking IKEA furniture. I think that is the dumbest thing in the world, but if my buddy loves it, then why am I going to stop him from doing it? See,
who's going to stop him? There's no point.
Yeah, a lot of people try and, you know, stay opinionated. You know, now every time I always bring this up because a lot of people always want to talk about it and it's always stigmatized. And I'm like, we choose to make it stigmatized. Religion and politics. We choose to let that be a topic that, like, oh, don't bring that up because you never know what someone's going to think. I'm like, just talk about it. It doesn't need to be so opinionated to the point you feel like you have to change somebody. I'm like, I've had every political party person on my podcast. Nobody that's been involved in a political party, but everyone that's got an opinion on which way the world should go. And I'm like, honestly, there's so many different people on this earth. Nobody acts exactly the same. We are individual snowflakes, but we're living in a society and a world that is creating the gym that works the 9 to 5. I know for you, and I know for me, those are not lifestyles that we can live by. We live in education system, work system, all this stuff. You have to have a paycheck. You have to do this. You can never be without money. I know people that decided, fuck it, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go without a job for a while, and I'm going to try and get whatever motivated going. And then they're doing podcasts where they're living off of it now. That's their source of income, and that's something they wanted to do. That's for them. For me, I don't want to profit really off my podcast. I just want people to be able to sit down, have a conversation, and afterwards be able to be like, damn, there is people out there that I can actually talk to, and maybe invoke that into their own life. I've said things in my podcast, which surprisingly some people take, and things about like sitting down with your family, isolating time, stuff I don't even do. But it's just a concept. It's an idea of maybe this is what we should be prioritizing rather than things that we're doing and we're kind of looking over, because you never know when that moment might be gone. And they said their life has been better for it. I tell them, don't give me that credit, please, because that means I have to accept it in the bad as well. Joe Rogan talks about that. Like, oh, you inspired me to do this. You inspired me to do that. No, you inspired yourself to do it. Understand
that's correct. Yes.
You are in control of your own actions. Everything you do is because of you, not because someone said you should do it. If you take their advice, they're just the GPS in your car. You're the only one with the keys to drive it.
That's right.
I'm a motivational person.
It's like I said, man. And yes, you are. I could tell. And you're such a brilliant young man. Like I'm moved by you, man. You're great. So thank you for having me here, for one.
You're giving me too much credit. Stop. My head's getting bigger.
I'm not. I can't. You want to know why? Because we need people like that. I could not stress that enough. Like, we need people who are willing to lend that hand, because, everyone expects something nowadays in return for everything. And it's kind of disgusting, but it is what it is. I'm going to deal with it, and I'm going to handle it in my own way. But that's like everyone that I've talked to, at least my family and friends and stuff like that. Because I don't get out that much, but everyone I've talked to, I've gotten to the point where I understand pretty much everything about them within the first 20 minutes, and because they're all so fucking similar. Like, they really are. Like, they want to have a good job, they want to make decent money, and they want to live a happy, successful life. The three fucking like layers that you need to live a good life, or so we've been taught. We don't talk about fulfillment. We that's what the whole precipice of college was put on, for. It was, you go to college, get this much fucking money in debt, and then you find a job that pays you more, and you just build your life from there. But I think you should start building way before that.
You get a diploma, because that's what you're supposed to do. Then you get that
Yes.
diploma, and they tell you need the better diploma. Then you get that better diploma. Then it's you need the top diploma, and then you get that top diploma. Oh, sorry, it doesn't cut in the job market anymore. As soon as I got my associate's degrees, you need a bachelor's. Then you need a master's. Then you need a PhD. Then you need a bunch of different stuff. Okay, when is it going to be enough? Well, guess what? Even having a high school diploma doesn't need to be a thing anymore, because we have so many people that are doing all new expanded categories now in a whole new age of technology. But like we talked about before, with entrepreneurship being such a giant thing nowadays, where it wasn't really seen that much before, there were only the main massive companies. It is bringing one of the worst aspects of people, and it does bring up the concept of people that do want to piggyback onto what you have. How many times do you try and get something for yourself? Nobody helps you out along the way. Then immediately it starts getting traction. Immediately it starts getting popular, and someone wants to hop a ride onto your success.
Yep, that's right.
We're people that want to leave a legacy, and we honestly don't. A lot of us don't want to put in the hard work to be able to do that. Whether you want to leave a legacy or not, you don't want to take the hard route to get things, because being difficult is just too much. Well, that's the most beautiful thing about it being wanted. First of all, if everyone gave you everything that you ever wanted, you would not have the same effect than if you worked your ass off to get that. I can tell you right now, if someone gave me $500, I would be pretty fucking happy. But if I worked for that $500 and then bought something I wanted, I would have a lot more kind of worth to it. It would mean a lot more to me.
Yeah, it's fulfilling. That's so true. That's so true. Yeah, man, I think we're quite alike in a lot of ways when it comes to that, which is good. Like I said, we need more people like us in the world. But I was going to ask you, I know you said you like having conversations with people, but like, what do you want to make money from in order to sustain your life?
Honestly, I'm good to do whatever. To be honest with you, I'm content with this. Do I want to work at a hotel like I work? Nah. Do I like podcasting and doing this? Yeah. Do I make a lot of time to do this? Yeah, I try my best. I mean, this would be nice to just be able to survive off of, but I don't ever want to use it, be like, oh, I want to do this. I want to do this and that so I can be able to buy fancy cars and be all this. No, I just want to be able to live. I wish money was not a thing. Yes. I wish that a piece of paper doesn't control our lives, whether it's a diploma, whether it's this, whether it's that. I feel like, life is already a price. Life already has so much things that do take the toll onto us. I think there's so many interesting things about it. I just want to make sure I can do as much as I possibly can and feel like what I'm doing is right at the time. Do what I love to sit at home all day. Yeah, that'd be nice. But at the same time, I don't like that, because I know after a while I would like to go out and explore the world. I know after a while it's going to get boring. I know when I have 2 days off back to back, I am waiting for work. And then once I get to work, I'm like, fuck, I'd rather go home right now.
Yes.
We're in a world where there's a giant gaping hole that we seem to feel like we know what's being filled into it, thinking that that's going to fill it, and it never does. And that's the thing. It's a bottomless pit. It never, ever gets filled. And that's only on the concept of life has so many things that you can be doing, things that are interesting, things that are always new and worth exploring. That's what makes it so wonderful. The fact that we have a limited time amount on this earth, and there's so much out there to explore. You can't get it all done. I can't conversate with every single person on this earth, but I know with at 2:00 in the morning, I'll be looking at my phone with insomnia, playing Dragon City or some shit. I'm going to be like, hey, guess what? I could be talking to someone in Australia, which I do. My day off is tomorrow. Guess what? I'm getting up at 1 a.m. I got exactly 2 hours of sleep booked. I got podcasts lined up because I'm going to, as much time as I possibly can, I'm going to get that. I'm going to have that conversation. I'm going to expand my knowledge because from the very first podcast I did, where the thing was just an idea, it was a thought, it was a joke kind of, to where I'm at now, my knowledge has only expanded from there, whether it's good or bad, whether it's whatever. It's just conversations with people and hearing different experiences, stories, and all these things that has increased my intelligence, at least, to where I feel like now I look at things, I've improved parts of my own life. When I get into an argument, I don't get into arguments because I look at both perspectives. Okay.
Yes.
Someone gives me their religious view. Okay. Well, I like to, that's something that helped you. But for some people out there, that isn't what they look towards. They choose the non-belief because that's more relevant to them and that's more evidential to them. You had a certain experience that caused you to believe in a faith. And I understand that. And that's all it is. It's all about understanding.
That's right, man. That's a huge extra portion of my book that, especially with religion and politics, to be able to understand and to have empathy, that once you have the mastered empathy, you win, man, especially when it comes to interactions with other people. Like, as soon as you can look at somebody's questionable religion to some people and not judge it with any, in any way or shape or form, then you win. And that's my goal.
I love talking to people that are completely one-sided, to be honest with you. Like the ones that are like, I'm not going to change my thoughts. I'm not going to change it.
Of course you do, because you're like, wait a minute, I can teach you something, or maybe you help you.
I just go, look, I'm not trying to change you. I'm just letting you know, like, do you see it from the other side's perspective? Like, I do. And I'm like, okay, well, that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying I disagree with you. I'm not saying I agree with you. I'm just saying, don't ever forget that there's another side of things and they experienced something completely different that got them to their point. And honestly, the most worth and the most amazing payment from this podcast that I've ever gotten is this sponsorship for Coca-Cola. No, I'm just kidding. No, honestly, it's the feedback. When I message a guest, when I say like, thanks, man, for being on. It was awesome having you, when their episode goes up or something, that feedback I get from it where it's like, that was a great fucking conversation. Please, let's do it again sometime. I'm like, yeah, for sure. And I'll have you back on. It's the concept of, I'm glad that you had an amazing experience. I don't ever want to feel like this is an attack. I don't ever want to feel like this is something that you have to, oh God, I got to go do this. No, just, it's about getting to know one another. I mean, it's not difficult. People are like, are you just going to attack me because you see that I do this political podcast? I'm like, no, what the fuck? Like, you're a person. I just want to talk to you and get your thoughts and feelings and try and see where you're coming from. That's all.
Yes. Absolutely, man. I was just thinking of something. I was thinking that, how long ago did you start this podcast?
About a year ago.
So you've been going for a year, and you have how many episodes?
I have probably 200 something released, and then I think probably like a good 40 or 50 still saved.
I was just thinking how ours is going to look in this amount of time that you've had yours. Like, I've already grown so much from that, from just doing the first, we're only on our 10th episode. We just launched our 10th episode, and I'm thinking to myself, I've improved already so much from just doing this amount of episodes and stuff like that with my public speaking. It's actually been tremendous for experience. And I was just thinking about the next year, right? And this time next year, maybe we should meet up again and see how things are different.
Are you going to have a bigger tattoo on your arm?
I'm hoping so.
I think it's going to be a full sleeve.
Yeah, that's going to be onto my chest too.
Oh,
whenever I decide to, because kids are expensive.
Well, I think what is awesome about people that start podcasts, voices being interaction. We talked about at least I brought up the fact that there's a good part and a bad part. Bad part is the people on Twitter, the ones that do the remarks, the ones that just try and look for a quick lash at somebody, like a
Oh
comment, a
yeah.
hateful thing.
Yeah.
You're going to have those people out there. But if you feel like you have something you want to say or just want to, it's a form of therapy. Podcasting is. I'm 100% pro advocate when it comes to people starting their own podcasts. A lot of people say
Me
like,
too.
I don't think my voice is going to be heard. I don't think people care what I have to say. Who
Yes.
gives a shit?
Yep.
Who
Exactly.
cares if
Who
people
gives a fuck?
Who cares if people want to listen or not? Do it for yourself. Do it because it's going to be fun doing it. I've talked to people that do podcast groups with their friends, much like yourself. It
Yes.
starts off because when you get out of high school, when you get out of whatever, you realize life takes hold of shit. You don't ever get to see your friends that much anymore. If you're not 20 in your 20s, whatever, going to a bar every single night, then you have no reason to leave your house anymore. Okay. If you don't have video games or your friends are meeting up and hanging out, you have no reason to leave your house ever anymore. And I always bring this up. The podcasting becomes a thing that's going to be fun when you guys get together. Then eventually it becomes a reliant thing where you feel like you need to produce content for listeners that are out there, where it forces you to get out of the house and go hang out with your friends. It's not forcing you to hang out with them, but it's getting you out of that house, getting you out of that comfortability factor. Then once you're there with them, you're happy you fucking left.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I mean, I'm a firm advocate for the podcasting too. Like, it teaches you so much, and the people we can meet doing it. It's just such a great idea if you're young and you have, not even if you're young, just a good idea for anybody. So, but no, like I was thinking about like what we were talking about earlier about what people want to do with their lives, right? Personally, I know I'm an author and this kind of, the coffee business and stuff. But honestly, I want to get to the point where I'm traveling to game conventions and doing video content and interviewing developers and stuff like that. And
Because that's the fun shit.
That's the shit. And if I can get paid doing it, that's what I strive for. And I think everyone should have a goal.
Dude, I was addicted to video games before I picked up the gym. Now I can't play video games because, all right. So this is a little bit of credit to myself, I will say. I'm fucking really good at video games, but I'm at the point where it becomes like an addictive part to it. I told your buddy on my podcast, I told him I went up 70 levels in World of Warcraft in one night.
Yeah. Well, that's dedication.
That sounds like bullshit. I paid the whatever $20 it was for double XP, and I grinded out from sun up to sundown the next day, and I even stayed up a little bit of the next day and did it. But I went up like 70 something levels, and I looked out the window. I was like, "Fuck! It's the next day. I didn't do shit besides this game." It was so much fun. It's because it's become addictive. Video games are fun as hell. You're seeing older generations now play them because it's an escape from reality. Okay,
that's the best life part. Is 80% shit.
Exactly.
No, but the thing is, the difference here is I don't want to get into the game space because of playing them. I want to get into the game space for the social aspect of it. I want to be able to ask people about their experiences at gaming. I want to be able to hear the stories that people have with. I just love the idea of the social aspect. I love the community. It brings people together. I don't know if you had a bunch of buddies who you played games with or not, but when I was like seriously into games, like I am now, but I don't play them as much as I used to, I would go over to my friend's house and we'd have like 6 friends and we'd all just fucking game the fuck out with all kinds of food and shitty drinks and stuff like that.
Those are the experiences I like to hear about because I remember when I podcast with a guy who's a pizza delivery dude, my one pizza delivery experience I'll never forget. We're getting the VidMaster achievement Endor on Halo 3 ODST. So we're 3.5 hours in. It is midnight and we ordered a pizza. Okay. Nobody's getting up from the Xbox. People are swapping in back and forth to go take a piss.
Yep.
There's Mountain Dew lined up. We went to the Walgreens or whatever, got a bunch of Arizona teas, got a bunch of snacks and shit. My dad was like, don't waste this money on energy drinks. Okay, thanks. And then we went and bought energy drinks right after that. But then we had exactly 15 something dollars, which we didn't know before we ordered the pizza.
Yeah.
So we ordered a pizza. It comes out to 20 something. And the pizza delivery guy shows up and I see we only have this much money. There's no money for tip. There's no money for even the rest of the pizza. So I was like, come on in the house, man. Let's try and talk this out and see what we can do, to get this, which is a bad idea, but I did it. I invited him in the house. He had pizza. You're fucking letting the guy in. And we sat down. He's like, "What's going on, man? Like, do you not have enough money to pay me? Seriously, dude?" And he's like, "I'm gonna have to take the pizza." I'm like, "Look, man, we're just getting the VidMaster achievement. I need you to understand this." And he was a gamer guy, young guy, and I was like, "I just need you to understand. Like, you'll watch this. You'll maybe hop in when we get done. I don't know." I was trying to like reason with him with that, and he just looks at us and he sees a bunch of kids having a fun. Like it was like 6 of us, and he was like, "Man, enjoy your night. I'm grabbing a slice." He just grabbed a slice, did not take the $15, and just went out.
People,
I'm
man.
telling you, man, like those are fucking experiences I would want to go hear at conventions, man. Because I always thought Comic-Con was like I never understood it. And my buddy's like, "Let me tell you." So we podcasted on it, and he's telling me his experience and all these things. I'm like, well, people look at you guys like freaks and all these things. And then I realized, no, it's expressing yourself. It's looking at something where you can literally, for that time being, dress up as that thing so you cannot feel like yourself. It's not because you're trying to escape from yourself. It's because you idolize whatever you're trying to dress up as. And what's that different from wearing Kim Kardashian's clothing? You're doing the same shit. You're honorizing her. You're idolizing her.
Yep, that's right.
I mean,
we're passionate beings. We're passionate and we're social beings. And that's why I want to get into the space. I don't even know what it's called. I don't think it even has like an actual fucking, maybe an entertainment industry. I don't know. I just know that I thrive off people's interactions and interacting with them, especially when it comes to things I love, like video games.
Now, would you set up a booth, and what types of things would you do?
No, I travel through the whole entire convention, just interviewing people that I think I like their costume. Like, hey, this guy's in a pretty sick Deadpool costume. I'm gonna go talk to him. Oh wow, look at her. Damn, I'm gonna go talk to her.
Yeah,
it's just the way it is. And developers, like these game developers, will bust their asses for us as gamers, and people don't realize the amount of work that maybe some do, but not all of them realize the amount of work that goes into building a game. And just the size of dev teams are so much smaller than they should be to actually put out good games, which is why there's a trend as of like the last year or so of these companies putting out broken games, games that are fucking glitching every 5 minutes. Or
that was Kingdom Hearts 3. When Kingdom Hearts 3 was originally released, they ended up doing a recall on the game because there was a glitch in the game, and it's because they rushed it.
Yep, exactly. And most of the time, it's not even the development team; it's the corporations, right? The publishers that are like, "Hey, we need money, so put it out. It doesn't matter if it's this and that, just make it happen." And the dev team takes all the hit for it, and it's really fucked up, really. But I want to shine some light on that. Like, I want to be able to bring a camera in, start interviewing some people in the space, and like really get the message out that these dev teams work their ass off regardless of how much sour taste is left in the players' mouths because of a game not being completely done. I mean, it's not really entirely the dev team's fault. So.
I think a lot of thing too with older gamers is the nostalgia effect behind it as well. Like, I guarantee you tonight at some point I will be playing Pokemon just for some reason. I haven't played it in years.
And what do you play it on?
I've played on DS, or I have a 3DS, so I'll probably throw in like the old version of it or something.
Yes. I use my phone as an emulator and I just get the Game Boy going on.
It's fucking nostalgia, dude. I remember when I was a little kid from school, first thing as soon as I got off that bus, I was popping in Pokemon Ruby or something and going around doing whatever.
That's right.
It's like I said, it's the nostalgia effect behind it, things that you remember. I mean, I've heard cases of like there's a racing game. It's a very popular thing that was on the internet. It was an article at one point. A kid lost his dad, and him and his dad used to play this racing game together. And what would happen is his dad was the top car, the top scorer. So it would show the ghost car in front of him. So he would try and beat his dad every single time.
Oh my goodness.
And right before he crosses the finish line, after he's winning, he stops so his dad's car can go first because he realizes that's the only interaction he's ever going to be able to have with his dad ever again with playing video games.
Yeah, I think I've heard that.
That's a heartfelt fucking story, man. And people don't
nostalgia, man.
Yeah, people don't think that video game interaction, like, that can't happen. That does happen with games. Parents are now playing games with their kids because they realize that this is a whole new way of interacting with their family again. It goes from board games to fucking, Monopoly was built on capitalism. Like, you just wanted to make the other person broke as hell. That was the idea of it. And now board games has turned into interacting games. I used to play Rock Band with my parents because both my parents did bands and everybody in my family did production and podcasting and stuff. It's like, no, let's hop into this.
We use words like nostalgia or reminisce, and we don't realize that how powerful they really are. Like they make humans do stuff. Like they make us go fire up that Xbox 360 or that original Xbox or that PS1 because we have these memories and we're so emotional about them. We have to relive them because that gives you a slice of your life that you'll never get back. And the only time you can relive it is when you turn on that PS1 and you go play whatever fucking game it is, Resident Evil. You played it with your brother when you were younger. Now your brother's, taller than you. Like this is my case. My brother's taller than me and he's going to college and he's going to be successful. And, I go into these older games like League of Legends and I remember playing with them. And so I play League of Legends every now and then because I remember playing with my little brother. It was like the best thing in the world. And so it's like people don't give enough credit to the words nostalgia and reminisce and all these other terms that are, linked to memories and emotions. So
I got a good concept for maybe one of your upcoming episodes.
Yeah.
I think you should all get Pokemon games and you should all start off at the beginning and pick different starters and then go off from there and see like where everybody goes, like do like a time lapse of it, like check in later and see where everybody's at, like play it on your own time or maybe play together and only do like a LAN party type thing.
Yeah.
That'd be a pretty good concept if y'all like Pokemon.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
I'll take that into account.
I'm tossing out ideas. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, most of the content we do is just audio. I want to get into the video space because I love presenting myself on camera, right? I'm a big dude. I like being up there and like putting my fucking face in everything. But my friends, not so much. Like my friend Corbin, he's on the podcast too. He's not super like into video content, but he's doing pretty good on the podcast. And my obviously you met Dakota. He's not too bad about it, but my brother is not very much into it either. But to get them to my kid.
Hey, dude, I always tell people, like, people are like, are you going to edit that out? I'm like, no, I keep it in there because it's real. Like, you have a life, you're a person. So obviously, like,
Good.
things are going to happen. And,
yeah, there's no stopping that.
Yeah.
I told you tomorrow we'll get it.
He said no.
No, we're getting it tonight. We have to think, if you go potty, you get something, like, because potty training was a complete cunt. So it was terrible. I did not have fun with it at all. But I finally broke him of it, right? And I'm single full time, so everything I do is for him. And so now every time he goes potty, he gets something. Yeah, it could be a piece of candy, it could be a cookie, pat on the back. I wish. Just kidding. It's not real.
I wish someone gave me a cookie every time I went potty.
Right?
Fucking amazing goals right there. Well, hey man, Wayne, it's been awesome talking to you, man. I'm gonna let you go because I know your kid wants to.
You're fine. Yeah, sounds good, dude.
But I want to give you here a minute at the end to kind of promote your content in your book too.
Oh, okay. Well, guys, I am Wayne Ty. People call me Tarzan because of my long ass hair, and it was a high school nickname. But I have a podcast called Gamers Bunny Grub, and it is with my 5 good buddies. We talk about video games, coffee, and food. We have a Grub segment almost every episode about food we can.
Doritos are involved, I'm guessing.
Dakota is fucking kryptonite.
I'll tell you right now, I have a bad experience with Doritos. I used to eat those with a 2-liter Mountain Dew, and I started working out. And the first 2 weeks, I sweated nothing but sweat.
Oh, that makes me feel slimy.
Yeah.
No, we talk about actually pretty decent, like healthily meals for you to cook while you're gaming because, gamers need to eat better, guys. We need to eat better. But there's that. And I wrote my book, The 5 Dimensions to Unfucking Your Life. It's a self-help book. Basically, like it says, unfuck yourself, become a better person, become a better entity, and to spread the love. So that is what I got for you guys. Thank you so much for letting me do that.
Well, thank you so much, Wayne, for being on the podcast, and stay tuned for another episode of Out of the Blank.